I have ever seen. Mark Henry with a unicorn head, uh, playing on Francesca too, and just dancing. It was like, okay, this is basically Sexual Chocolate 2.0. This is where I'm getting at. It's like, wow, this is just way too much for me. But thankfully, Mark Henry, just left halfway through the matchup, and it's like, okay, so that was just basically pointless. Go figure. Oh well. So New Day lost, and the Dudley Boys just decided to attack him. I think that they were just saying, and I remember Bubba Ray made the comment, and this was what really got me. He said, "Do you know who we are? Do you know who we are?" Honestly, that was one of the things that I thought, yes, they're basically going into a heel deal where they're bringing in the Bully Ray deal. They're bringing in now, heel Devon. This is awesome. I am thankful that they did this. I am thankful that finally they're doing something with the Dudley Boys instead of splitting them up. It's just one of those things where it's like, thank you. About time. So thank God for the Dudley Boys finally getting over and they're finally doing something. AJ Styles actually had a very interesting week this week. He was going to get interviewed. Well, actually, no. Actually, Miz TV was having Chris Jericho on because they were going to hype up the matchup between AJ and Jericho on SmackDown, which is happening tonight. But during that concept, the Chris Jericho decided to just take Miz TV, throw it out, and turn it into the highlight reel. And it was just like, wow, they're changing it mid-show, mid-Miz TV. I love it. I thought that this was awesome. I thought that, you know what, why not? Let's see what happens. Let's see what they can do with this shit. So they did that, and Miz and Jericho had a little bit of a screaming contest. AJ came out, and they did a whole deal where they just kept throwing out the Miz over and over again, but had like a little stare down between Jericho and AJ. And here's where the interesting part was, and if you are going to be watching SmackDown, you definitely probably want to fast forward to like the next minute, at least minute and a half. I'll probably have it around the 19-minute markers when I'll stop talking about this. Basically what happens is that AJ and Jericho actually compete twice in the same night. They compete in a tag team match in which they are victorious, and then Jericho after the match gives a code breaker to AJ. I think that's making him turn into a complete heel. Then what happened was that they had the matchup between AJ and Chris Jericho later on the night in the main event. First of all, loved the fact that they had both of them compete in two matches in one night and not just having them, just scrapped for whatever. But basically what also happened was that they had an instant classic. From what I heard, this was a match that was better than the first time around. And actually, Chris Jericho won clean. He hit the code breaker on an AJ. 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles suffers his first pinfall defeat in WWE. And now they're going to have the rubber match at Fastlane between Chris Jericho and AJ Styles. I'm totally okay with that. I like the idea that, they're changing things up. I am interested in seeing how the matchup kind of went down more in depth, tonight as SmackDown comes along. But we'll have to wait and see how things go into that. So those are the only things that I can think about covering as far as Raw and SmackDown goes. Those are the major things. Now you go into TNA, where they had a little bit of an interesting week. Awesome Kong actually just got fired from TNA due to an incident with Rebby Sky, Rebecca Hardy, whatever you want to call her. And the interesting thing is that there's really no solid story behind it. The only thing that people are really admitting was that Rebby Sky was just, shooting her mouth off. Awesome Kong threw her stuff out and was basically standing up for the Knockouts division. And I guess there was almost a little bit of a physical altercation between the two. But basically what happened was that they were in the UK and Awesome Kong got sent back home. And I guess officially then she was soon fired afterwards. And the fact is, the scary part about this whole thing is that the baby, Matt and Rebby, was in either the same room or he was nearby. That's just very uncomfortable for me because I think about it. I understand that, there's some parents that just can't leave their kids behind. I get that. But the way that Rebby and Matt are doing it, it's just really taking it to a different level. If they would have left him home with a nanny, that could have been more understandable, but the fact is they didn't do that. They're taking the baby with them, which, some people might say, hey, that's admirable. I don't. This is a very physical place, and this is a very physical sport. I honestly did not see anything good coming out of that, so I think that they should have just left the baby at home, left it with a nanny, or like a sitter, or something like that, or left him with their parents, whatever. That would have probably made more sense, but having the baby with you on national TV, it just does not buy you anything. If anything, it just makes you probably a little bit more of a bad parent. That's just my opinion. I would have much rather just kept the baby at home. That way I know that the baby is safe. That is just my complete opinion on that. But some interesting things that did happen during TNA was that they finally had EC3 come back. Actually, Matt Hardy was trying to petition Dixie Carter to fire EC3, and Rebby was trying to, kind of convince Dixie Carter to kind of do the same thing. She was saying, girl to girl, that, your nephew is out of control. You need to look out for your champion and blah, blah, blah. EC3 came out, beat up security guys, beat up Tyrus, and the stare down between Matt Hardy and EC3 was just awesome. And they made it official. It's going to be at Lockdown. It's going to be EC3 getting his rematch against Matt Hardy for the TNA World Heavyweight title inside 6 Sides of Steel. Let's hope that this time around there is no interference and that there is no shenanigans going into this world title matchup. Hopefully it's the last one. EC3, we need you back as a champ. Because this is the way I see it. EC3 has evolved so much over the last year. Whether he's been the champion, whether he's been the top heel, he is just amazing on the mic, amazing in the ring, and he's one of those guys who's underutilized and underrated in TNA. So I'm hoping that they finally do something more with EC3, but only time will tell. The only other major thing that happened in TNA was they had the rematch between Kurt Angle and Drew Galloway, which I heard was an instant classic. I got to watch the final few moments of it, in which we saw Drew Galloway hit his finisher, 1, 2, Kurt Angle kicks out, and then we saw Kurt Angle get locked in this kind of half crossface deal by Drew Galloway. Kurt Angle counters into the ankle lock, but Kurt gets countered again, and Drew locks in that submission maneuver, and it's one of the first few times that I have actually seen Kurt Angle tap out. It's one of those things, I have not seen Kurt Angle tap out, frequently. I think the last time that they had Kurt tap was either to Cena or it was to Chris Benoit. I can't remember the last time I remember Kurt Angle tapping out. I don't even think that, Kurt tapped out to Sting. It's been that long since I've really seen, Kurt Angle tap out. Oh, no, wait, it was Samoa Joe. That's right. I think it was Samoa Joe is where the last time that he submitted. But Kurt Angle's not one of those guys where you see him just tapping out like crazy. It's a rarity, like Cena tapping out, I guess. So Drew Galloway gets a huge victory over Kurt Angle, and obviously they're going to continue the whole deal with Mike Bennett and Drew Galloway. Interested to see how that goes, but like I said, we'll just have to wait and see how things turn up. So, going to take a short, quick break, and then we come back. I'm going to give the booking of an ECW storyline that just went completely down the toilet. Actually, it's going to be 2 storylines, and you guys definitely do not want to miss out on this, so don't go anywhere, guys. Going to take a short break. Going to come right back.
Slipping away like falling sand till it's bleeding daylight. The rope pulled tight.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Pro Talk Wrestling. I am your host, Nate the Great. Thank you so much for tuning in to this today, guys. Thursday, February. I believe it's the 11th of February. I believe it's the 11th of February. All right, so I'm going to go right into, well, actually, first things first. I actually do need to talk about this because it does kind of go in hand with the whole how WWE should have booked deal. So, CM Punk has been in the UFC news as of late. First thing was that he was involved in a bit of an uncomfortable situation with Complex Magazine, I think it was. And they did an interview, and CM Punk apparently took offense to some of the questions that were asked of him, like, comparing his in-ring deal in WWE with his in-ring deal with UFC, and he apparently was saying that, I've been asked this question a lot of times. I've really, can't believe that you guys would keep asking me this, and blah, 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 blah. And he just started bitching and moaning and bitching and moaning. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh. If you get a chance, check out the interview and how he reacted about this. And I think he said something about, I don't want you interviewing me again. I don't want to be interviewed by this magazine again. And blah, 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 blah. I see CM Punk ice cream bars. Yeah, 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 yeah. And apparently, his original fight that was scheduled for, I think, UFC 200, I believe it was, may in fact be postponed because apparently he is suffering from back problems. Most people have made the joke that he has a lack of a backbone, which I'm at that point where it's like I can completely agree with that, because he is complaining about how people are always talking about his accomplishments with WWE. It's like, you haven't done anything since you left WWE. I get it. You're one of those guys who got mistreated. Fine. And you're leaving and you're trying to make your life better for yourself? Great. Actually do something. Because apparently your drawing and your writing for comics is not getting you anywhere. Because it's not really getting anybody noticing. It's like, oh, have you ever seen CM Punk's new comic book that he drew and he, created? It's really awesome. I haven't heard the news about that. I've heard more news about you just talking about, oh yeah, I'm getting ready for UFC, I'm getting ready to fight. It's like, oh, well, this is kind of getting delayed because of this and then this and then this and then this, because I have this problems, I had this problems, I had this problems. You've had 2 years after WWE, and you said that you're healthier than ever, and you're still finding reasons to complain. And actually, it's kind of funny. Ryback actually tweeted about CM Punk's back issue, and it's like, hashtag shots fired, where Ryback says, I took some years off your career, CM Punk. Sorry about that. I'm dumb as fuck. And honestly, for those of you that don't know that reference, you need to check out CM Punk's interview with Colt Cabana, where he actually bashes Ryback about, not doing something right, where he was trying to, Ryback was supposed to gorilla press CM Punk through a table on the outside, and he missed completely and hit the concrete, and CM Punk just bitched at him saying, you can't tell me that you did that on purpose. You either tell me right now that you're dumb as fuck, or that you did that intentionally. And apparently Ryback was saying, I'm dumb as fuck. I'm sorry. So that was kind of where the joke kind of came into that. So going from that small, feel like I wasted my life kind of rant there, to talking about ECW and how they didn't book something properly. Now, I'm not saying like the original ECW. The original ECW had captivating programming and just had so many good storylines that they could have worked with and that they did capitalize with. I mean, they only had Tommy Dreamer beat Raven once. That was the main storyline, I think, that came out of ECW, other than Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam. The main thing that I wanted to talk about was how the new ECW